on the next episode of Sips, Suds, and Smokes.
For today's segment, drum roll, please.
Yep.
I don't have a drum roll.
We are talking about...
There's no drum roll on my board.
We are going to be discussing the PCA, which was an event in Vegas. The five, not four, but the five of us went to. It stands for Premium Cigar Associations, and it is basically our trade show in our Mecca. PCA is a once-a-year event where most cigar manufacturers and gypsy brands post up and we get to preview new products and special releases. Sadly, though, this event was for industry people only. We had a great time talking to brands and trying cigars for 4 days in Vegas with shop members, PCA members, manufacturers. So strap in and hang on tight. We have a lot to go over today in this extended episode.
We'll be right back after this break. Brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Hey man, got a light? It's time for Smokes.
Welcome to the Smokes episode, folks, where everything life is good is worth discussing. I'd like to introduce our host, and we have a new host with us today. We got good old boy Mike with us.
Yeah, I'm here again.
I think it sucks.
I think that sucks. I think it sucks.
We got good old boy Justin.
Good morning.
We got good old boy Nate.
Why, hello there.
And then we got a new member, good old boy Benjamin.
Thanks for the applause. Long-time listener, first-time caller, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me about your life.
We don't have that kind of time.
That's right. Well, as you know, we're the best thing on at 2 a.m. right before Small Spaces, host of Andre the Giant. And just after those infomercials of stuff that never works. Infomercials. It's a hard word to say sometimes. As you know,
interrupt this program to annoy you and make things generally irritating.
That's right. As you know, I hope you know, our smoke segments are all about cigars and, well, anything that's smoked. Sometimes. For today's segment, drum roll, please.
Yep. I don't have a drum roll.
We are talking about...
There's no drum roll on my board.
We are going to be discussing the PCA, which was an event in Vegas. The five, not four, but the five of us went to. It stands for Premium Cigar Associations, and it is basically our trade show in our Mecca, and it happens once a year. So what I got here is PCA is a once-a-year event where most cigar manufacturers and gypsy brands post up and we get to preview new products and special releases. Sadly, though, this event was for industry people only, and that was actually not a bad thing, I think. We had a great time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm used to it. We had a great time talking to brands and trying cigars for 4 days in Vegas with shop members, PCA members, manufacturers. It was very informative and all around a great time was had by all. So strap in and hang on tight. We have a lot to go over today in this extended episode. But don't worry, if you miss anything, you can download the full episode from where?
Anywhere online. Just say play podcast, Sips, Suds, and Smokes in any phone, and we're right there.
Boom. Now, just before we dive into the shallow end of the pool, remember, if you're a cigar newbie, fret not. We got you covered on our Cigar 101 episode, where all of this cigar speak will be decoded. Just search Sips, Suds, and Smokes Cigar 101, and that episode should pop right up, and follow the link in our show notes. So today...
It's a complete waste of time.
Yeah, it was. So today, good old boy Benjamin.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode, actually. Good old boy Benjamin is going to get the honors of reading our smokes ratings today.
Oh, I feel so fortunate and blessed.
Are you feeling lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
Uh-oh.
We'll be smoking and discussing these cigars and rating them with the Sip Suds and Smokes rating. And they're a scale of 1 through 3. So rating number 1 is, this sucked even before it was lit. If it gets a 2, I would smoke this again.
There you go.
Not bad.
And the coup de grace, the rating number 3. Where are they? I need a box.
Well, there you go.
I could not have carried a box home of anything. My suitcase, all of our suitcases were so stuffed. We actually bought luggage to bring cigars back.
We couldn't
It
bring
was
another
Christmas
flipping
in
thing
July.
back. I couldn't have snuck a fart back.
Nah.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, so let's dive in. Today's episode is going to go a bit differently. I tasked all who went with us to PCA Trade Show to pick 4 cigars that they smoked and or stood out the most to them. And away we go.
All right.
Good old boy Nate, you're up first. Take it away.
All right. So my 4, first off, just kind of glancing over Freud cigars, their Sigmund. It's a limited edition. This is the former master blender of Davidoff. This whole blend is undisclosed, but it was an incredible treat. It was expensive, but it is the whole 7 inches was perfect.
Had one somewhere, couldn't find it.
Yeah. And then next, I also really enjoyed Plasencia's 151. Now, Plasencia's had their whole cosecha line that usually features tobacco from Honduras and Nicaragua together. The 151 is actually now a Honduran Puro. It's the brand new one that's coming out. I really loved it. It did not taste like all Honduran to me. It was like had very deep complexity, very deep richness to it.
Now, is that the one in the green octagon box?
No.
So which one was that?
This one, they had a black and yellow band on
Okay.
it for this year, but it's gonna be black and gold because they're all that whole series has like metallic looking parts to the band. But
Sure.
so it was the black and gold one. So that was incredible. But I really want to talk in depth about the Cavalier Domaine Rouge.
Well, let's. What did you rate your Sigmund
yes.
Freud and your Plasencia?
Yes.
And I had both of those as well.
You did? Okay, cool.
So, what'd you think of the Freud?
So the Freud to me was a 3. And if I had money, I sat back and enjoyed the whole thing. It is a $42 retail smoke, but I loved every minute of it.
Well, and I think that price point was the thing that kept on creeping in my head, that they were like, oh, this is a $40 cigars. So it's amazing, and they had a lot of their rollers, right there at their booth playing dominoes. And it was really, it was a very cool, presentation. But I don't know. I think that there was just something that went off in my head when he said, this is a $40 cigar.
Yeah, no, and I totally
And
get
I was
that.
like, I don't know about this.
I remember watching you smoke it in the Rocky Patel booth when we were sitting there. And I swear he pulled a monocle out of his jacket.
It's a big cigar.
And asked me about my mother.
I will say that the thing for me that was different about it was I'm so used to that typical Davidoff flavor, and so I expected something to come of the same from their former master blender, and it was just completely different than anything Davidoff's ever
That
done.
Davidoff's got that kind of like oaky, dusty, been sitting on a
Very
shelf
hay,
for 10 years kind of taste to him.
So I smoked that Freud the other day. I've got $42 for that cigar all day long. It was big, oily. Like
Wow,
this was.
I feel left out.
Dude, this was a smooth sip.
Yeah.
Of delicious smoke. 100%. I would definitely concur on the 3 there.
I think the Freud had a tough draw, but it was packed with a lot of flavor.
Can you do push-ups for your lungs, Justin?
Well,
I need a stronger mouth.
I'm going to say
That's what she said.
I really think this was a $20 stick that was stuck in a $40 bag is what I thought at the end of the day. And I think that it was, I almost wanted him to leave the whole discussion of the price point out of it so that I could just let the cigar stand of its own and not let that value proposition kind of creep in, to a lot of the, preordained element of how good is a $42, cigar going to be. So I think that's where I wound up going. I'm sorry, but I've had $15 sticks, $10 sticks that I thought were twice as good, as the Freud. So listen, I would say that it falls in that category. If you want to buy something special, it's a great gift cigar. They're all Churchill, size. I don't think they even offered them in anything else.
No, it's one size.
Yeah. So, buy them for gifts. They're great, bachelor party gifts or wedding gifts.
Or your lawyers.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess I was going to say.
I'll take half.
I was going to say
I'll take a third.
Yeah.
I was going to say that for I guess I can't use that in our like $40 nut blind. Y'all will know exactly what that is when you say
Yeah,
it.
that's if we have a $40
Oh, come on.
blind.
Well, I guess I'm gonna summarize our smokes rating. Then it's gonna be
We'll go with a 3 on that.
It's gonna be a 3, even though.
Good job, Freud.
Yeah, I've said my piece. What I have about
So your Plasencia, what was your rating on that?
So that for me would be a 2.
Wow. Really? So I smoked this as well. Yeah, and this was absolutely my favorite cigar out of all the cigars that I smoked, including the ones I picked. I thought this was really great. And on the other Plasencias, that we had earlier on a different episode, I did not like their filler in that particular cigar, but I loved this. In fact, it had my highest rating, very high quality, nice burn line, feels great in the hand. It's very complex flavor, leather, wood, roast. I thought it actually paired very well with the cocktail that I've been making a lot of lately, which is the
I
last
bet there's
word.
gin in it.
It's the Kettle One Botanicals.
Oh my
No, it's the
God.
Kettle One Botanicals and Tonic.
I will
Kettle
say-
One grapefruit. Come on.
And Rose.
I will say the only 151 I smoked was during one of the seminars that I think you guys had just came into. But so I will say that it wasn't in a moment like at home where I could have a cocktail, and I loved it. I just think it wasn't fully there yet for me.
Well,
I think that's one of the only cigars that I didn't actually get to smoke at the show.
yeah.
Was the 151, but I'm a Plasencia fan. That 146 and the 149 are something that are kind of go-tos for me. Anytime I'm in a humidor, kind of looking around, can't make up my mind. Those are definitely things
I
that
like their
I can
white
pick
label,
up.
the little Perfecto Torpedo.
Yeah.
That little guy's great.
The original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plasencia did a very good job with this one. It has had a lot of flavor. It never went out on me.
I guess we're gonna have to give it a 2 because
That's all right.
sounds good to me.
Next time, make us some cocktails. We'll bring that cigar, and then we'll make
I don't know.
maybe have it. at 3.
Maybe the cocktail elevated the cigar. I mean, that definitely could have happened. So
It's possible.
What else you got there, Nate? Real quick.
So I really want to talk most about the Cavalier Inner Circle Domaine Rouge. So Cavalier is a brand that originated out of Geneva, Switzerland.
He's wearing the Cavalier.
I know
shirt.
I am wearing a shirt.
A sucker for branding
I know.
here.
It's a free shirt. But so basically, it is essentially a brand that is made up of a husband, wife, and a friend. This cigar is one that they have started making out of their own factory, and it is one of their first cigars to use a Honduran wrapper leaf.
And when we get back, we'll finish talking about it.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
Yeah, so my favorite of the show was really the Domaine Rouge from Cavalier. And if you don't know anything about Cavalier, Cavalier is a brand that basically started originally out of Geneva, Switzerland, but then really got their notoriety for growing tobacco in Honduras. And so in the past couple of years, they've actually started their own factory with it was a husband and wife, and then their friend Brian. And honestly, they're just truly good people. So their new line that's come out in the past couple of years, Inner Circle, really just features what the specialty of their factory and what they can do. And so this one, Sebastian came out with in honor of his father, because his dad and him always loved wine and collecting wine. And so to me, it's a really unique cigar for them, though, because it actually uses...
now, this is part of their Inner Circle line, right?
Yeah, this is part of the Inner Circle line. So the Inner Circle is actually one of the only ones you won't find the gold diamond on. I know everybody's like, what's the gold diamond? It's edible gold leaf.
Yeah, I smoked the white. The white series, which has the gold on it. Yeah. So I did not lick the diamond off.
Didn't you also smoke the first Inner Circle? Didn't I give you a blue one?
It's a blue.
No.
Okay, somebody did. Maybe it was you.
Was not me.
Maybe it was me. I smoked a few of them.
So basically, though, the cool part about this cigar is it's a lot of Honduran tobacco. So Hamastron Valley, Honduras wrapper leaf over a Connecticut seed Honduran grown binder, and then a Hamastron Valley and also Jalapa Nicaraguan fillers. So it's got a lot going on, a lot of spice, but it just, to me, they're all about family and heritage. And this cigar really shows it. Great packaging.
I'll say I'm smoking this cigar
He's smoking
right
it right
now as we talk, and it is freaking awesome.
My preferred size is the Figurado, which they call it that. It's, in my opinion, it looks a little more torpedo-ish, but
yeah, I would just send it as a torpedo.
To me, this is a solid draw, great smoke.
Yeah.
It's the show stealer for me.
I'm definitely going to give it a 3. Nate's holding up 3 fingers, so...
There we go.
So I got a chance to talk to Sebastian in length at this booth at PCA. That dude is such a solid character, man. He was talking to me about his father and about everything, and I got to try a couple other of their brands, not brands, but a couple of their other lines. And then he handed me a Lancero, which is their event only cigar, and it's freaking, Lanceros are my favorite. So
yeah, so I mean, the cool part about them is like, so when they first came out on the scene, it seems very prestigious, especially with the whole Switzerland vibe and the horse. It's got a horse and the gold diamond. And then you meet Sebastian and his wife, and they're covered in tattoos. He's bald, big old beard. Really looks like a black metal,
He used to listen
Swiss
to black
dude.
metal.
No, I know. We talked about
metal. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's not what you expect, but he's really they built a great brand. And Brian, who's a lifelong industry person who came on board with them in the factory. I mean, honestly, I think that this brand is one that you're going to see big things of in the future, and big things coming out of this factory. Yeah. They've already started making cigars for a lot of other brands as well.
That's another one of those brands where I wasn't really familiar. I've seen them obviously in the Smokers humidor, but haven't picked them up yet. And then getting to actually meet Sebastian and listen to the passion literally just ooze out of him for the cigars that he makes. Definitely lit my fire, if you will, about checking out those smokes.
But yeah, so I am definitely looking forward to some good things out of Cavalier, and I am already a fan for sure.
Including this Cavalier Lancero.
Uh-oh.
How you feel about that, Mark? A little FOMO over there, bud?
No, I got one in my hand right here, buddy, but I'm not smoking it. I can't smoke too well. I guess I could double fist
Let's rate up the one that Nate just talked about.
We did. We rated it a 3.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Where were you, Mike?
I was over here lighting cigars.
Yeah. Well, you just keep sitting over there and light your cigar.
And I guess, even kind of just talking about my experience at PCA. So I will say the 4 of those guys had a little different experience than I did, because they were there media, more checking out the brands for the podcast. I was there with the retailer I work for, and this is like the 8th or 9th one I've been to. So we have a little different experiences, but
so he cool stayed in the slot machines, pulling the levers.
Yeah, but I went to bed earlier than I've ever done in a year. But
That's right.
I didn't win anything. But so for me, it was a busy year, because to me it's going to the booths, and it's not just I don't get a chance to talk to the guys as much because for us, it's all about buying and deals and here's money. And so it's a little different. So for us, it's more on the spot. And you guys even probably came home with a lot more samples than I did because for me, we got the same amount of cigars.
But you had to smoke them real quick.
But like there's ones where there's certain brands where I got to light it up in the moment to be like yes or no. And so
one of the things I want to just let people know is that this is not only is this the trade show of event, this is the mecca for buying cigars for stores. So they get their deals and bundles and all that stuff, that all the new releases that are coming out. So this is why this is a retailer event and it's not open to the public. Plus, they take pride in having the legislation and having the lobbyists that are pushing for these cigar laws that we are fighting for.
Yeah, I had a lot of conversation with a lot of the retailers, at the show and on a lot of topics. But, part of that discussion that I had with many of them was when you're here, buying at the PCA show itself, are you buying the latest and greatest? Are you buying for the next quarter? Are you buying for, a whole year? And it was a very interesting, response from several, different retailers. I think probably the most common answer to that I heard was a lot of them are there for the deals that are presented at PCA, and it is about sell, and moving, a tremendous amount of volume. And I think that's true on both sides of the coin. I think the salespeople that are there are there specifically, to move product. But
it was hard to get a conversation sometimes with some of the people because it's like every 30 minutes, it's like I'm selling this. I have a meeting.
That's the other thing is like for us, we set up a lot of our meetings. We had a whole schedule planned about a month in advance with our reps because if you want, and there's certain brands, like we had to be at Tatawahe's booth first thing because all their limiteds every year will sell out the first day. So even if your appointment's the next day, it doesn't matter. So that's why that's always our first stop is boom, get all the limiteds.
We got to talk to Pete for a little bit and it was really informative talking to him. So being on the media side of that is a whole different experience. Yeah. We didn't schedule any appointments because we didn't know what to expect. Yeah. So we just kind of meandered around, and if we saw people standing around, we talked to them.
I didn't meander, but...
Well, you definitely meandered. I seen you walking.
I actually feel like I saw Mike like 3 times all weekend. But
pretty much, yeah.
He was at the massage parlor.
Well,
him and Justin.
So that discussion I thought was rather interesting because I really didn't hear... a lot of people, trying to add things new, a lot of new products, into their stores. It was all about margin.
Yeah.
And so I really wonder if that really is the best venue, to introduce a new product, because I just think that the agenda at hand for both those salespeople and the retailers, I just don't know that a new product really can gain a lot of momentum.
I don't know if you guys actually got to see any of the sales sheets and not giving too much insider
sheets?
Sales. Oh. So the deals and stuff.
Shells?
Yeah.
But a lot of that, so the way it works, and a lot of companies are smart with it, where you want the new product, you gotta buy this package deal, or you gotta buy this certain amount of core line. And so, but they also incorporate it in, and there probably is a good amount.
Like bundling with whiskey.
Well, I was just going to jump in on that side of it too, right?
30 cases of Jack Daniels.
No, exactly right. The only thing is apparently in the cigar industry,
sure, I'll take my 3.
It is an accepted practice.
3 cases of Wheatley vodka.
Right.
Normally, in the whiskey and the spirits world, it's technically kind of shunned.
Yeah.
Right. You're not supposed to do those type of things, but we know, that you need that brand awareness
it's like
to be able to carry.
For here, it's for the cigar industry, it's more looked at as, okay, you want the good stuff, you got to support us, and that's more the thing is if you don't, You know, because there's a lot of shops out there that will want, you know, it's like Liga Privada. People may not realize why not every shop has Liga, because you have to sell a certain amount of regular Drew Estate brands because they don't have enough just to hand it to everybody. So they'd be like, you have to be a good customer of ours. You have to support, and then boom.
And you have to sell the flavored ones.
Yep, you got to have a cabinet stocked.
Well, I didn't mean to drag us down this rabbit hole, but it was really good discussion.
Well, that's what we're here for.
What other cigars did you want? Or does that cover the ones you?
He's got one more.
I got one more. The Metapa, I think it's called. I've heard it said multiple times, but I keep forgetting.
Metapa.
But it is the new foundation, and
That's how Trump would say it.
Oh,
it's
Lord.
a Metapa.
I'm a big fan of Foundation and what Nick's doing.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Oh my god.
My friends say I like it.
So, basically, he made this cigar in honor of a Nicaraguan poet. And the thing I like about Nick is he does a lot of things to the heritage of Nicaragua, or even he's connected to Ethiopia. And he's just got things where different heritages he tries to incorporate into cigar brands.
Yeah.
So this cigar was a Sumatra, Ecuador. They actually have it in a Claro and Maduro. The samples were only Maduro at the show.
I think I got one, but I haven't smoked it yet.
Yeah.
I kind of interrupted one of their sales meetings.
Smoke that
One morning,
cigar,
I was
dude.
just like,
It's
I was
great.
neandering around, and they was like,
Smoke
"Oh,
that
are you
cigar.
It's great.
here?" And I'm
It's
like, "No." He's
fantastic.
like, "Well, we're having a sales meeting." I was like, "Okay, sorry, dude." But he was super nice after that. He was
No, they're good
super
people.
cool dude.
They're
Yeah,
solid.
yeah. I hope to
And-
have him on one of our chats episodes, along with Sebastian as well.
Yeah. So it is the binder is a Connecticut broadleaf, and the filler is Esteli and Jalapa Nicaraguan. The thing I love about Nick and most of his Connecticut tobacco that's in his cigars, a lot of people don't know, but his office is actually on an active cigar farm in Connecticut.
Oh, nice.
So he actually is from Connecticut. He's known as the king of broadleaf, and it's just cool because he literally grows a lot of his own tobacco and even sells a lot to other
nice.
people right there in Connecticut.
Well, that's awesome. Well, what was your rating?
I give it a 3.
I will say there was a lot of bangers happening at this PCA event. A lot of good cigars were coming out, and I there was very few cigars that I smoked there that I didn't like. I'd say probably enough to count on one hand. But so what we're going to talk about is Nate, what stood out to you the most at PCA?
This year for me, it felt a lot more organized than it usually does. Sometimes it's been different every year, I will say, but like
I'm laughing because when you said organized, I immediately thought of the Caldwell booth.
well, so
That's the best booth there.
and I
Come
don't
on.
know if you guys.
I'll talk about it a little bit later.
Robert, it was great. I
Well,
don't care what
it
Mike
was
says.
funny as
I've got a story about last year's Caldwell booth for you then, to give a little context maybe to this year's if you didn't hear, but we'll get to that later. But it's all the different booths are interesting, and you have the prestigious brands that look all elegant and they're in suits, and then you have my buddy Jeremy with Wildfire who pulled a camper in there.
That was awesome.
And you've got, I mean,
he was like, "Hey, what's up?"
right. And you got Foundation blaring reggae, and that, I mean, it was very just eclectic. I will say this is still another year that a lot of the big brands haven't been there, and it's still a little peaceful, without Drew Estate blaring hip hop all day. They're a very loud booth.
Oh, I can imagine.
So it was chill, but it's still, every year though I end up lost and I'm running around the whole place and I always forget where
There was a few brands not represented there. I didn't see any of the I saw Fear Ortega, but I didn't see any.
Well, Davidoff.
I didn't see Camacho. I didn't see
about 3
Drew
years
Estates.
ago, those companies pulled out of
Yeah.
PCA, which honestly really was able to, for a lot of the smaller brands to shine. Now people like Tatawahe and my father and stuff can sponsor PCA versus having the $1 billion corporations.
Yeah, it
do
was like Room 101s and a couple
CAO
other
wasn't
places.
yeah, that
Yeah,
General's not
General's
there.
not there.
Yeah.
Yep.
None of the General line was there. That
Yeah.
was interesting. I imagine they would have had a big booth and set
Yeah,
up.
and they
like,
normally
"Look at what
do
we
when
had."
they
Well,
used to have.
Yeah, they
it.
just had the forged. That was the only brands
And
that
actually,
General had.
the interesting part, the only reason there was the Forge booth was because their acquisition of Alec Bradley, and Alec Bradley already had a registered
Right.
booth, so
Kinda
they were
snuck
able
it
to
in.
come in there and kind of reintroduce themselves back to PCA.
Well, that's good. So up next, we're gonna go with good old boy Justin. over in the FTL Day. What's up?
Florida.
Fort Lauderdale.
Hey.
How's the weather down there?
The weather, it's a middle of a thunderstorm.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice light
I
show.
just saw some lightning.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you had.
So I had the Puro Ambar made by Cavalier al Artista in the Dominican Republic. And it was earthy. It was well constructed, great flavor without.
What were the leaves in it?
So this one had Dominican Republic hybrid wrapper, binder, and filler. So it was an all DR event.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good. I gave it 2 rings on this one. My favorite one of the 4 was the Cinco de Cinco, which in English is 55, and it's celebrating their 55th anniversary release.
Yeah.
This one came in a beautiful little box.
Oh man,
nice
such a good presentation.
Love a coffin.
Beautifully constructed.
Oh, that was the coffin box.
Had a San Andreas wrapper.
Yeah.
Nicaraguan tobacco. And this is my favorite one of the
That
4.
old coffin kind of reminds me of those old Camachos they used to have, like the Dedkas.
So sadly, I found out that cigar won't be in a coffin. That was just for a PCA little presentation because I asked.
Yeah.
Because I was
I'm going to keep my coffin then.
yeah.
I think they're selling them in boxes of 10.
I think that I think that as a packaging choice is gone. I think that it's just it takes up too much space, for the retailer. I think it's confusing that the consumer cannot actually see, the product that they're buying.
Other than it adds to the overhead on cost as well.
And one of the benefits of it back in the day used to be helping the cigar age, but now they put them in cellophane. Like I'm smoking exactly what we're talking about, the Cinco de Cinco.
Oh, you're smoking that right now?
Yeah, I'm smoking it right now. And even when you pull it out of the coffin, it's in cellophane. So it's still, it's just
like defeats
defeats
the purpose, man.
So it's literally just, but I'm really enjoying the cigar right now. I'm smoking it with ease. It's not, it's really great. I love it. So
what kind of rating you guys want to give this stick?
I'll give it a 3.
I gave it a 3.
All right.
Well, there you go, man.
What's in the box?
And then
What's in the box?
I had the air. Go ahead.
No, that's what we're always talking about. What's in the box?
Then I had the Artista Midnight. This stick was nice. It was complex. It went out a couple of times. The draw was a little too easy, but it had really good full flavor, dark Ecuadorian wrapper, Ecuadorian shade binder, and the tobacco was a blend of Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and USA. It was a pleasant stick. I gave this one 2 rings.
So what? That was a Artista. How do you say there?
Artista Midnight.
Arista. Okay.
Or Artista.
Yeah.
Artista.
Was it Artista?
It's Artista.
That's what I thought it
Artista.
was. Artista.
En español.
Yeah. That's Ram stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we got to hang out in their booth a little
killer,
bit.
They were
dude.
nice.
And I actually got to interact with the family. It's a family brand. And so I was talking with the patriarch of, this brand was sitting there, but I want to say that was actually his granddaughter that was sitting there with me as well. And she's actually over the operations area. And it was really interesting, hearing her talk about the show in general. And we had some of that same, questions about, what are some of the things you're looking for out of the show? And I think she's just so far out of the sales process, for sure.
So we're going to take a little break here. And when we come back, we're going to touch a little bit more on Artista.
It's not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, close. My hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
And we're back. So let's just talk a little bit more about Artista, man. That booth was awesome that they had.
They had a great product line.
I actually got to talk to Ram himself. We spent about 45 minutes talking about video games and BS the whole time. We didn't even talk about cigars, which
It was so
that
cool.
is awesome to me.
Yeah.
Because your cigar can be mediocre, and if you're awesome, I'm going to support you.
Yeah, this is a brand I think we're going to come back and look at a takeover episode.
Kevin
at
from
some point
Artista
in
was
the
actually
future.
texting me right now.
So
And actually,
I'm looking
we-
forward to that.
We smoked one in our $5 blind.
We did.
The Paperboy.
The Paperboy.
Oh yeah, that's right. I panned that hard.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's actually what Ram rolls and smokes for himself in the factory.
I'll pray for it.
Yeah. I love it. I don't care what Mike says. Mike opinion sucks
You
anyway.
don't enjoy your own brand, right?
That's pretty much yeah.
So Justin was actually there with me while we were hanging out with Ram. What did you think about him?
He was really cool, but it was just awesome seeing 3 generations of one family and seemingly in harmony, all loving different aspects of the cigars. And
Yeah.
it was just like a little vacation in the PCA. It was
For
really
sure.
cool.
He actually invited us down to the DR to come check out their facility and factory and stuff. So that's cool. And we are probably going to take him up on that.
Oh, absolutely.
No passport
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah, no password. The password is Pompadour.
No passport.
Oh,
But yeah, the passport
Oh,
as well.
you know.
Nice.
right. So I want to touch on that Cinco again. I haven't smoked mine yet, but if it's
Oh,
anything
you'll love it.
like the Cuatro Cinco, which is a staple, I love that cigar. I've got a couple releases of the TAA exclusive of it, and it is just fantastic.
I'll look forward to trying that when I come up.
Anybody else?
No, I mean, I love the whole series that they've done. I mean, I'm a big Joya fan. It's, if you don't know much, they're basically the first operating factory in Nicaragua, like in '68, I think it was.
Right.
But so they've got a lot of history and heritage. The Antonio's great. Their Connecticut's great. But this whole line is awesome. And honestly, one of my favorite things I love about it, weirdly, is the San Andreas wrapper up against the like
I love the
nice
San
kind of
Andreas.
emerald green band it's got. I don't know. I'm a sucker for how a cigar looks too.
Yeah, I'm banding,
And
man.
so to me, the color match is really good. I think I can't wait to see how the boxes are going to look, and I'm excited for it.
Not to mention their world marketing rep
Yeah.
was an absolute jewel.
Oh,
Not to
absolutely.
be too on the nose with the branding. That's what
That
Joya de
conversation was
Nicaragua is.
great.
But that kid has it down,
Man.
And it did not feel rehearsed or practiced. It felt real. It felt like he actually believed the brand and lived the brand.
That dude loves that brand.
Yeah,
And you can tell that dude loves his brand because of how he talked to us about the brand.
took us through the whole history of Joya de Nicaragua, and same like Nate, I was already a fan, and that just absolutely has cemented me as a smoker of Joya de Nicaragua.
Can we just talk about, did you guys see the little box that they have coming out? It's a limited edition box, and you can play like finger hockey. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sign
so
me
once the
up.
box is empty, it's got a hole cut in the lid and the bottom. So when it's open, it's like the one of those you finger. You have to get it in the hole. You got to finger it in the hole. Yeah,
I'm sure there's a name for it.
yeah. I don't
What
know the
sound
name of that
effect?
game.
Here we go.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed!
But yeah, they've done that once before with some game called Shut the Box, and they made it where it was like, all right, once the box empty, yeah, they have it's some game you can play with dice and stuff, and so it was interesting. But I think it's fun, So
Yeah.
buy a box of those, and then you get a free game.
I think that's an awesome marketing strategy, and I think that if more cigar manufacturers could do something with their
to
box,
repurpose their
to
packaging.
repurpose them. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's
Yeah.
hundreds of people
Oh,
out
yeah.
there making jewelry boxes for their
Yeah.
wives or making knick-knack boxes in
Sell
their
them
tool
in
shed.
an antique store for $10.
Yeah, like the cigar box, you can get it at the cigar shop for $1, but if you go to the antique store, it's $15. You know, it's cool. So what was you had one more cigar, right?
Yes. My last cigar was the Falto Mentor, and it was in honor of his mentor.
Was that Privada Falto?
Falto's the brand.
Falto's the brand. Okay.
Yep. And it's Ecuadorian wrapper, Brazilian and Nicaraguan binder. I got like walnuts, espresso notes out of it. Really good flavor, decent construction, easy draw. It was pleasant.
Now that's the one with the Sumatra and the Cameroon binder, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what was your rating on that?
I gave it a 2 just because the draw was a little too easy.
Yeah. Do you think that was humidification, or do you think that was just an actual in it?
I think there wasn't a ton of filler.
Okay.
When they put the filler evenly distributed throughout the stick, you get like the right draw.
Yeah.
And the right balance. But other than that, it was really good.
You think you might revisit that if you get it, find it on a shelf somewhere?
If it came my way, I would smoke another one, sure.
Awesome. Well, up next we got
what's his rating on that?
Yeah, he rated it a 2.
I gave it a 2.
He gave it a 2. Sorry, Mike's not paying attention.
I
again.
was preparing for my own discussion.
I got this. Okay, we're good. So, want to ask you, what was your favorite thing about PCA? And don't say Mike's grapefruit drink, because we're going to talk about that in small group later.
I've only been to consumer-facing events, and I've never worked in a cigar store. So this is like first view of cigars as a business. And I ran into a lot of the cigar retailers from South Florida. So it was like a reunion. Half of them are lawyers that don't want a lawyer anymore. Go figure.
Right. Can I be your lawyer?
It was a huge event. Like it took a whole day to like slowly walk it. And the first day was like chaos to me.
Oh yeah.
But by the end, you knew where you were going. You knew who you were talking to. And I think if I went year after year, I'd make more friends, deeper connections, and have even more fun. And it was fun seeing that timeout guy. It's like a brand new person.
Yeah,
who's
Neil.
a hobbyist.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about that.
He did his own brand. So
yeah, we're going to talk about Neil.
We'll talk about him. Neil, good guy.
Well, we're going back in March. So the next one's in March, and that's the last one in Vegas until the following year, which will be in New Orleans. Which is meh.
March will be fun because this time was like 112 degrees.
Not in New Orleans.
Yeah, well, July in New Orleans is
wasn't Vegas.
Not July.
I will say I've also done PCA in New Orleans, and finding places to smoke is not like Vegas. So,
well, there's casinos there, but they do not allow smoking.
They do not allow smoking.
Really?
Casinos, yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, up next, we're going to go through good old boy Mike's experience, which I'll try to keep him short. I know he's a little long-winded, but work with me, folks, because I know he's been chomping at the bit to tell us about his cigars. And don't forget your girth.
Girth.
Oh, where is she?
I don't know. Where is she? Where's the girth?
Oh, no.
Did you delete the girth?
No, she's right there. It'll probably fire off in a minute, in the middle of me talking. So the very first day, we were we took a moment to just hang out in a herf with a bunch of other people during a happy hour. And somebody gave me a cigar. I think was it you that
Probably.
gave me the, So this cigar is from Ferreira Cigars.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
Yep. It is called the Diosa Latino. And this is a really interesting cigar. If you got to see our quick video that I really screwed up a lot of things in the middle of when I was talking about the cigar. I really didn't know what I was looking at. So I'm sorry about that. But just an amazing craftsmanship of what this thing looked like. It is absolutely the most gorgeous cigar I have ever seen. It has this very decorative cap on it. And all of this entire cigar is about the symbolism of Latino women. So Diosa is the goddess in Latino. So it's the goddess of women is basically what this celebrates. The entire cigar is actually made by women, and I'll go through all the symbolism of this cap. Is it just comes over, the end, and then it has some bands that come off the back and cross each other and then go around the cigar. If you've ever seen the CAO basin, Amazon basin, very similar, kind of decoration of just using tobacco as a band itself. And so the particulars on this cigar, it is, let's see, it is, the binder is from Mexico. The filler is from, get this, there are actually 5 different elements of this filler. So
it was a lot to take in.
I'm going to read all these real quick. So it is dry Honduras, NO, I believe is what this is. Viso Dominicano, Viso Costa Rican, light Nicaraguan, and base Colombia are what's in the filler. So there are 7 different tobaccos on this cigar itself. And so I was like, wow, this is going to be, either really, really interesting. And I was just so enamored with the craftsmanship looking at this thing. So the symbolism around this cigar is all about, again, celebrating Latino women. The cap actually comes down and actually represents the hair of a Latino woman. And the bands coming across are actually a symbolism of Mother Mary actually holding the Latino women in their arms.
Yeah.
And so really fascinating symbolism in the way that they use a lot of these branding elements. I really love the story, and that is going to be the theme of all the cigars I'm going to talk about here at PCA. So that is really, I'm a sucker for a good story many times, but my radar just was so enamored with how well this thing looked until I lit it. And unfortunately, it did not pay off very well. So the one thing that happened, so I actually did not smoke that cigar while we were at PCA. I actually waited until we came back. And
it was like a holy grail for you.
So the one thing that they told me that I needed to make sure to do was to punch the cap and not to guillotine cut it. So I followed the instructions to the letter and I punched the cap.
He had to go buy a punch because that's not his thing.
No, I have a punch. And so I'm sitting there and I'm lighting it. I'm using the Barger method, and,
well, what's the Barger method?
Well, it's all about blowing, baby.
Ooh, blow for me, baby.
Blow before you light it. And so I'm sitting there and the draw is so hard. I just cannot get anything going on, this cigar. And I found I was frustrated with it. And even what I was tasting, I'm like, wow, this is just not, the first third of this is just not happening for me at all.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And so finally, after, probably at the first ash, I decided to guillotine cut the cap. I was just so frustrated with it all.
So you cut it? Ah.
I did. And so the draw came around and I'm like, cool, now I can really enjoy this, except for the fact that I didn't. And I was just so disappointed. If you had looked at just, my face was just melting. I'm going, I love to talk about. I would have
paid to see this.
I would have loved to talk about this cigar and how amazing it is all day long. But it was just a kitchen sink. It was not balanced. It didn't have a good taste profile. There were just so many things about it that I was just like, wow, this is so disappointing.
That breaks my heart.
So I found that had a few burn line issues as I was going along. So it was just incredibly anticlimactic.
So what was your rating?
Well, I'm going to give it a 2 because I love the artistry about it. And I think that it's a great gift cigar. And I think for somebody that maybe wouldn't know the difference between, something amazing and something not so amazing and the storyline behind this, I think this would be great. There are 2 different wrappers on this. So I actually smoked the darker wrapper and I'm not quite sure what it was, but I want to go back and have the Connecticut one and maybe that'll change my mind. So we'll see.
Yeah. So now that cigar manufacturer is represented by The BCA?
The Boutique Cigar Association. They have this very interesting section of the PCA.
They had a huge booth, and it was a lot to take in. I think there was a bunch of brands like Caro Cigars, and there was a whole bunch of other brands that really stuck out that had a lot of cool things going. I actually got to meet one of the rollers or one of the owners of one of the brands, and he was super cool.
I loved everybody that was there. I loved the guy that was the master blender for this as well. And I know that there is magic there. I don't. They have some other things in their product line, and I look forward to trying those.
Now, I also got one of their espresso.
Yep, I didn't get to that one yet.
So that one's cool. So they said that and then please, I'm sorry if I butcher this, but from my understanding is that when they age their tobacco on that particular cigar, that they lay the leaf out, and then they lay a layer of coffee beans on top of that cigar leaf, and then they lay another leaf and more coffee beans and leather. So it's not an actually.
Yeah, they age it that way.
Yeah, so it's not an. You were there with me, weren't you? So it's not an actually.
I was.
It's not an infused cigar, but it like takes on the characteristics. So I'm pretty excited about smoking that one.
Hey, I hope you're really enjoying our discussion here about the PCA show, and we are going to have some extended discussion about the PCA show, the cigars we had there. So if you're listening to this particular episode and through the radio, thanks for listening to us.
Thank you so much for listening to us.
And check out the rest of our discussion on our online episode. And, we have a lot more to say, a lot more great cigars to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We still got 2 more people to go through.
Just didn't fit in our radio format. So just check us out online, and you'll hear about a lot more great cigars. And
Absolutely.
I have a lot more stories to talk about, when we pick up the next segment as well.
Yeah, these stories ain't stopping. This train ain't stopping. So thanks again for listening to us on the radio.
Thank you.
Rolling clouds and crashing surf, iridescent dunes reflecting by the light of a rising, glowing moon. Seashore mesmerizing, night breeze hypnotizing. We've come across these back roads none too soon. Look to the left, to the right. Keep your eyes on the road, my darling. Wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows. My hand is yours forever, sweet love.
So tell me, how lovely was your experience, Mike?
So we ran across an interesting booth. They had this big sign,
huge,
that was up that says, "This cigar is 120 years in the making." And I was like, okay, well, now you got to get to this story. And again, that is, the point of a lot of the theme of the cigars I picked is it was this really interesting story. And I enjoyed talking with the guy there in the booth, and I'm sorry, I just can't particularly remember his name right now.
We met so many people.
Yeah, but they only had one cigar. And so the cigar we're going to talk about is called Lovely. And it is an homage to a brand that was in Wisconsin back at the turn of the century. And there were
USA Tobacco
over 200 plus cigar rollers that worked there in Wisconsin. They were all unionized as well, which was an interesting twist.
Let's go, America.
And they used a lot of tobacco that was grown, he said, in Wisconsin. And I shuddered when he said that. I was just like, wow.
Don't they do cheese up there?
That's
cheese and beer.
Cheese curds.
I will say, throwing in real fast to that point, a little tidbit I found out recently that I don't know that I had ever realized is actually back in the day, like late 1800s, most cities or big towns actually had cigar factories, and people were growing tobacco, and you either had your Cuban stuff or you had the stuff that was rolled right there in the neighborhood. And honestly, World War II was what shut a lot of that down too, was people going off to war.
And they had to also go to the metal factories to make bullets and ammunition and all this other stuff. I know bullets
Probably
are
using
the
the
same
agriculture
thing.
A lot of
for
towns
something-
actually had their own factories and brands.
And probably using that agriculture for something outside of tobacco, right?
Yeah.
Something that you can eat as opposed
Rice
to
or beans or
something you can
some
smoke.
depression stuff. I wonder what cigars Tennessee had. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to do some digging on that, Nate.
That will be interesting because, that I think there were so many parts of the story that I was like, wow, really did not know that. I knew there were a lot of cigar rollers, that were around in, the turn of the century. I mean, literally thousands, like 3,500, cigar rollers just in the U.S., alone, probably around that period of time. And that number may be way off, but
So that brand was called Lovely, for those who are wondering. So
my first impression was, I was like, so you export this cigar to Canada, right? Because I was like, there's no way you're going to convince me that this cigar is actually, going to be made with Wisconsin.
it's a cold climate cigar, eh?
Yeah, tobacco. And it's not.
You
So
betcha.
this cigar is actually it is a rebranding. So what he did is he actually took this brand called Lovely. They basically reincarnated it. They changed some of the elements that were around the brand to bring it up to some modern standards.
Now, what I did like about their booth, not to cut you off, sorry,
No, you
but
didn't.
their booth had a lot of those older cigar boxes and
Yep.
cases there.
And they had them side by side. They
And
had
it
the
was
original
so
ones. Yeah.
cool to see the branding and how they actually marketed cigars back then. And it was really neat. So good on you guys for having that.
This particular cigar is a Ecuadorian wrapper. The binder is Mexico, and the filler is Nicaragua. And so I was really excited. Again, I'm like, wow. I'm looking forward to, is a story, really going to hold up well against the cigar itself, and it did not.
Oh,
was
I
just-
disagree.
So I actually smoked that cigar as well because I saw it on your list and was like, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah,
I had the same impression, actually.
So I completely disagree, and I've actually smoked them a couple times because I met them a little while ago, and it's actually been something on my radar, and I actually think for a nice light smoke, it was very pleasant.
So my notes were, it was real spicy off the light.
It's very abrasive.
Right initially, it was just like a slap in the face with
It
spice.
was.
But then the first third, all that flavor that was really good off the light was just muddled together, and it just kind of tasted like dirt, and it was really hard to pick the flavor of the wrapper and the leaves and stuff throughout it. And when I got to my last part of it, it was just overly hot because I was trying to keep it lit and trying to keep it smoking. Now that could have been due to humidification.
No.
Maybe we can go over that in Cigars 101.
Yeah, and I had some similar, quality issues, as I was going through this as well. And I think at the end of the day, I just really struggled with it across the board. I hope that they keep the branding. I love the story.
Yeah.
I look forward to them making some refinements, in the choices that they have, with the tobacco that they're using. So
Now, one thing I want to remember,
it's
I
a
want
great
to
cigar
remind,
for a Packers fan.
yeah, for Packers fans.
Easy, guys. Go Pack, go.
Yeah.
Don't let the accent fool you,
You
but
better stop it.
the Titans weren't a thing when I was a kid.
Oof.
So,
Well, they were Oilers, right?
yeah, they were still in Houston.
That's right. That's right. So, what I do want to remind our listeners,
Yeah.
we'll have viewers one day.
No.
So, for our listeners, is don't take our word for this. Like, this is our ratings on cigars. So please go out, do some research, go find what you like to smoke. We're not telling you what or how to smoke. We're just telling you what we like. So on the Lovely cigars, one thing I want to remind everybody is most of the cigar manufacturers don't bring cigars in their vehicles to these cigar events.
How they get
They
them
have them shipped in FedEx or UPS or however they use it. Now, a lot of
the desert.
yeah, in the desert. So humidification is hard to keep in a box, in a cardboard box on a plane or a truck. So the cigars that we got, and I'm just going to use Lovely as an example, might not have been the best representation of their brand, but this is what we had to go off of.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to revisit this if I find it in a store in Tennessee. I'll probably pick one up and revisit it, and maybe I'll like it better.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the name of this cigar. It's called Ain't They Lovely, is it? And it's Elegante X2 is the particulars on it. I'm going to give the Lovely Cigar a 1.
Yeah, I gave it a 1 too. Nate's holding up 2 fingers, so
Sorry.
Lovely, you got some room here.
Yeah.
I'll try that lovely cigar later.
And so,
Yeah, you will.
So the next story I want to talk about is I'm actually going to skip one cigar because when we get around to talking about El Septimo, I'll chime in. Benjamin's going to talk about a cigar about that. So the last one that I'm going to talk about is the Don Manny. It is called the Chubby, and I
resemble that remark.
Yeah, I think we all do in this room.
So we were walking around. There was a Cuban DJ gal that was working the Grey Cliff booth, and right across from that was the this cigar manufacturer that I had not heard of, and they had these incredibly unique cigars, and I was like, "Wow, I've never seen that shape before." I mean, what do you call that? And they call it what's the Don Manny, and they had these other cigars.
Was this the lady that had the cigar shape?
Yeah,
or the pipe shaped cigar.
The pipe. Yeah, they had the pipe shape cigars that were there as well. And I was like, so the Don Manny is this really? It is a chubby cigar. I mean, it is.
It was fat.
It was probably a 65 ring gauge, and it was tapered off into almost, I don't know how to describe it. It's like maybe the size of your pinky.
I think it was a 4x70.
Yeah. So it was box pressed, and they actually brought the box press over from Cuba.
Yeah.
Is where they originally made this size. And so they continued to use the box press to make the Don Manny Chubby. And I was like, wow, I can't wait to, try this, itself. And again, I hate to spoil it again, but I did not like this cigar. It would just, the first thing I found was just lighting it alone was so much of a struggle.
The chore, huh?
The tapered end was bound so tight that I cannot suck chrome off of a bumper, and you still would not have
with that attitude.
You would not have.
I've seen him do some fun things.
It would not have accomplished, drawing anything off of this particular cigar. And so I just really, struggled with, quite a bit. It's called a double Corona. It is a 70 ring gauge by 4 inches.
I thought it was called the Chubby.
It is called the Chubby, yeah, but I don't know. That's how it was described in this app that I was using.
So what was your rating?
My rating for the Don Manny Chubby is also going to be a 1.
Oof.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So what was the app you were talking about?
So, so I'm on the hunt for a good cigar journal, and I'm using Box Pressed is the app that I decided to make a run for our production day here. Interesting app. I think it's coming along. There's some things that I made some feature suggestions, back to the app developer, and a lot of those are in the works. We've heard that about a lot of apps and services.
You had to input almost every cigar you were smoking.
I think part of that was because a lot of them were PCA releases and just had not hit their database yet. But there were a couple that I'm like, this should have been there, So I was a little disappointing about that. The other things I like about the app is I like how you can just tap on, common tasting elements and flavors, you know, just by hitting a button as opposed to kind of typing it out. I'm looking over the rest of my notes.
We ran into another guy with an app there, right?
Yeah, we did. And I have taken a look at that app, and I might talk about it, on a different episode or some other point in time. I haven't had as much chance, to go through that one.
I'm starting to fiddle with it too myself.
The only way I got through the Don Manny Chubby was to clip the entire fluted part off until I had a guillotine cut until I had, more of a traditional, cap-like element where I could actually draw off of it. And it was not good. I actually wrote down the words kind of nasty. So
that sucks.
Yeah. And even at the midpoint, it was still not good. So yeah, like I said, my smokes rating for this is a 1.
So you're going to hold off on your El Septimo cigar?
I am, yes.
So up next, we're going to have good old boy Benjamin, which is his first time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome him.
Welcome, Benjamin.
Hey,
I can't wait to hear what you're going to talk about, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all so much for inviting me into the inner circle here.
Well, your check cleared again.
Yeah, fair enough.
This time.
But yeah, so the guys here at Sip Suds and Smokes had me along. Whiskey and spirits and cocktails are my background. Bartender in the city of Nashville for a little bit over 10 and a half years.
Yeah, we found him at the local homeless shelter.
Absolutely. But I was in between homes, so, a free meal is a free meal,
That's
right?
Right.
But yeah, so I went over a few smokes as well. Some things that are a little bit more maybe common to see in a humidor, but maybe you haven't reached out and grabbed one yet. So the first one for me was the CLE Asylum 13 Connecticut. It's a 6x52 Robustos. They're golden Ecuadorian Connecticut with Honduran filler. This thing was, as far as lighter shade smokes go, you think of those creamy kind of notes, right? You think they're going to be a little bit lighter. They're going to be maybe having a little bit less of those dark complexities to it. This thing had all the spice that you want.
Really?
Had some, like a nice heavy smoke to it. So something that you could have first thing in the morning if you like a flavor forward cigar, but the power was not knocking you down. Just absolutely flavorful.
I've been hit or miss on some things with Asylum, but they've got some quality cigars out there as well.
Yeah, man. It comes from the Christian Luis Arroyo factory. And this thing was just light pepper. The retro smoke had some really cool, like toasty bready notes, some really nice, like sweet oat notes. And the spice was there. Definitely not like black pepper, but just like maybe like a light roasted white pepper, super tasty. This is something that I could see myself with, like a nice latte in the morning.
Yeah.
Cold
cup of
brew.
coffee.
100%. This was definitely a great way to start your day.
So what was your rating?
My rating on this is actually a 3. This is a box-worthy cigar for me.
Okay.
This could be a daily smoke.
Now, I will tell you, those come in like 40 or 50 count boxes.
Ooh,
even better.
Even better.
Right.
Now, don't they also have a petite version of this cigar as well?
They make that cigar about
Do they
any
have a double
size.
Lancero?
They have it in
That's
like
funny.
7x70 all the way down.
Because
So,
I actually smoked the petite Lancero, but it wasn't a Lancero. It was like 4.5 inches by
I think
42.
they do a 44 by 44.
Well,
So.
Yeah,
that's cast rather
yeah.
gloom over the evening, hasn't it?
And I actually enjoyed it as well. And I got that pepper off the nose, and I got that retro was really good, but it wasn't over spicy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of Asylum right there.
Big fan of what they're putting out right now. The next one that I had on my list was the EP Creo 1-inch
Okay.
Maduro.
Was it a full inch or was it a 7/8?
Yeah, right. So this is as far as girth goes, this is a little bit normal out of my normal comfort zone.
Sure.
I normally don't go for things this large. This is a 5
That's
by
not
9.
what I hear about you.
I mean, the rumors are true. Believe everything everybody says about me.
That's right.
5 by 9, 5.9 by 62. They call this one the number 60 Maduro, but this one also comes in every shade. This is a big, smooth smoke. Not overwhelming with the spice complexity, just a real nice kind of chocolatey, roasted coffee vibe. This is actually a very relaxing smoke for me, something that you can kind of sit around with. I've been enjoying a couple of these different shades late night, just kind of sitting on the back porch reading a book.
I've always liked EP Creo.
Yeah, man. They're
Ernesto
doing some,
Perez has got it. Like
that pledge was something that was really, really awesome. They were kind enough to hand us an allegiance while we were at the booth there
that
at
thing's
PCA.
awesome. Man, that thing is a solid cigar.
I haven't smoked it yet, but I have smoked my way through most of the inch line.
Yeah.
And even though, like I said, out of my normal comfort zone, definitely something that's super enjoyable. And I'll be looking for those Gordos out there in the market for
I'll
sure.
have to put that on my short list. You really sounds like you enjoyed it. I look forward to trying that as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of times too, right? Like those larger ring gauges, the smoke can be a little airy. And this one actually had a nice bit of body to it.
Yeah,
Not with the Don Manning.
Yeah.
so that's exactly one of the points I was going to bring up is on these inch lines. You would think that a larger. See, I typically don't go for anything over 55. Personally, I mean, 55 is even a stretch. 50, 52 is kind of my outer limits of cigars, but 48 is my jam. If any cigar manufacturers listening, that's what we like. Petit Lanceros. You know,
you got a mouse in your pocket?
Yeah, I do. He's squeaking right now.
Yeah.
But those their cigar lines, their rollers must be really, 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 really experienced in larger ring gauges, because I didn't have draw issues with those. I don't have any flavor problems. Like the complexity is still there. Their bodies are still there. Like I like what they're doing.
Before 6x60 existed, one of the brands that everybody knew for a bigger ring gauge was La Gloria Cubana, which was what he owned, and he had sold that brand. So he was really kind of known for doing the bigger ring gauges even before 60 was around.
Mm-hmm. Because he's had that inch out before.
Well, yeah, but and I mean, even with when he owned La Gloria Cubana, he would do larger sizes there as well.
Right. So, what was your rating on that one?
I gave this one a 2. This is a solid golf cigar, right?
Okay.
This is a yard work jam right here.
Yeah,
something you can just kind of the fire's going to stay lit, and you can keep one on you for sure.
All right. So, do you want to go? What was your next one?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one for me would be the Ohana Nui, left-hander.
Yep.
This was a 6x62 Nicaraguan binder and filler with a genuine Connecticut broadleaf wrapper.
Yeah.
Maduro shade on that wrapper, and this was everything that I look for in a cigar.
Okay.
With it being kind of like a legacy brand, but maybe something newer to the market. This guy has absolutely nailed this cigar. The owner of Ohana Nui is Ryan Rodriguez.
Yeah, we got to talk to him a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And this comes out of the Family Rodriguez Tobaccos LLC. And this thing was an oily cocoa bomb, right?
Yeah.
The construction's there. It's a beautiful cigar. It feels good, in your hand, right? Like you feel like you're getting that quality. But if I remember correctly, the price point is right where you want it. I think it's like right around $12.
Yeah, $12-13. Yeah.
But yeah, fruity, peppery. I enjoyed every bit of this cigar. Classic Toro 6x62, medium to full strength. This was, absolutely a banger for me. My rating on this one's a 3. This is box worthy all day for me.
Okay. I actually smoked it last night, and I had some construction issues in the beginning. So like the first third for me, I could not keep it lit. I couldn't keep it lit. It was just maybe the tip was loose and it was just airy. But once I got past that first third, man, I really liked what was going on.
What I think also too, you talk about box-worthy cigars. The thing about, that I've experienced at least is they don't all smoke exactly the same.
Right.
So you get into, a couple out of that box may have some of those issues, man, because I had the exact opposite experience.
Sure.
This thing had a razor sharp burn line.
Okay.
No construction issues. Great draw all the way through. I would have smoked it down to my fingertips.
Sure.
If I could have.
Justin, did you try any of these?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah, well, you should try that left-hander. It's really good.
Also like the insinuation there with the left-hander.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Smoking with my left hand right now.
Right.
There you go.
The picture on the band is a left hand holding a cigar.
Yeah, not a joint.
Not one of those.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your fourth cigar.
Okay.
And we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on this one because we all had a really good time with these people.
Yeah. Well, you want
We're going to get there.
You want to talk about, one of the booths at PCA that was dressed up, right?
Oh
Like,
my God. You
this
brought
thing-
that girl to prom, didn't you?
This thing had production values, $10,000 ashtrays, right?
3 of them.
Yeah.
No. Those were $10 million.
Oh, $10 million.
Those, each
off-
ashtray
off
was
my few zeros.
$10 million.
Wow.
And they were gold bar encrusted.
I was incredibly
emeralds,
disappointed
rubies,
that they did not have a
jewels,
G5 jet.
diamonds. They had armed security there
Oh, yeah.
with the ashtrays.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, definitely marketing runs this brand. This is absolutely something that, it's all about the packaging for them.
Very much so. And so this booth, not only was it just immaculate, plus it had these $10 million, ashtrays that everybody's taking pictures of. You're going to see pictures of these ashtrays for probably the next 10 years. But, it was an interesting storyline, and coming back to the same thing, theme that I've had is, so this is a private equity group that basically a lot of these cigars were made for, I believe it was Saudi royalty. And they eventually, this private equity group said, hey, I think that we could do well if we included, if we actually made some of these cigars available, to the public. And, the price that, they were asking for some of these cigars, it was just astronomical. It was like $200 sticks, for some of these things. But they're really appealing to a certain clientele that, they don't ask the price, at the end of the day. So this series that Benjamin's talking about is what's the name of it? A Sacred Art Collection. Yeah. So interesting box and I believe there are 7 different cigars that are part of this, and each one of them is different. So the one that you had was the Raphael.
Yes, out of the Ninja Turtle selection.
Yes, that's the Ninja Turtle selection for sure. Now they said they have like 100 or so faces.
Biggest kick out of that line. It was like, all right, so the Mutant Ninja Turtle series from El Septimo. They're gonna. I can hear their lawyers firing up, as we speak. So yeah.
Which one, Ninja Turtle or El Septimo?
Both. Why avoid the rush?
Hasbro.
Yeah, probably. So what do you think of the Raphael? We actually we smoked these side by side, one evening. So, but we didn't actually talk to each other.
We did. As far as coming back from the PCA with the cigars, there was some new humidification packaging out where the humidification was built into the sample bag.
Yeah.
This was the only one that I had an issue with.
Yep.
Mine actually came apart on the way home. I had no other issues with any other cigars bringing back. And so these cigars were actually a little bit soaked with whatever liquid was in there. I hope it was just water, but I did let them dry out and smoked it. This was not an enjoyable smoke for me. This was not something that I would look for consistently. Smelled great, looked great. I think it had everything that you're looking for as far as, something that you'd pick up and go, hey, that looks like a pretty solid smoke. The smoking experience was not that for me. It turns bitter about halfway through. Very acrid, very burnt flavor profile. And I don't think that it was from any like overuse of the lighter or like, herfing too hard and stoking the fire too much.
Yeah.
Just kind of turned, bitter and acrid and, almost like the silt in the bottom of a cup of like pour over coffee or something like that.
Now, one thing I noticed is that they focus on larger ring gauge cigars.
They do.
So none of what I got from them was below a 60. I think I take that back. I think I had 155 Perfecto, but it was a 7-inch Perfecto.
The one I'm talking about is 50. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well, there you go. I'm wrong.
That's okay. It was a 6x50. They call it a Robusto Extra. But it's also just described as a Toro.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm wrong. That's fine.
It's all right.
This never happened.
So what do you think of the Raphael? What's your rating on that?
1. This was a 1 for me.
And I think some of this may have just gone down because of the bag, spilling over to the cigar, which was unfortunate. I had high hopes for this again, with the story. The particulars around the one that I had is called the Michelangelo. It is a
Ninja Turtle
5.5 by 50. Yes.
Different from the Leonardo and Donatello.
Correct. Yeah. Some particulars about this, that it's a Costa Rican wrap. It's a Costa Rican binder and filler. And it's the shape descriptions are all over the place. So this says diadema. It's, it's perfecto to me.
Can I note something I have heard about that, from my understanding about that brand, is no matter what cigar you have in that series, the different name is actually, even though it's like they're different sizes, they're different blends entirely.
Yeah.
Which to me is super confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, okay, this one blend comes in one size. So like when you're presented it and you're like, Well, this one's when I first saw the brand a couple years ago, I was like, okay, so this one's a Toro and it's $20, and you have a Torpedo that's $26, and I'm like struggling to see the comparison. And then they at first were undisclosed completely, and then they came out with their blends, and you're like, oh, they're not the same cigar.
Yeah.
See,
So
I
it's a little
didn't see any
misleading.
of their blends because everything on the line's like, this is undisclosed.
I know.
This
So
is
that's why I
undisclosed.
hunted all this down. I got really irritated with
Yeah.
that. I don't know why they made that
Their
marketing
website
choice.
kind of sucks too.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
No offense, guys.
Well, all the money's in the booth.
Yeah. Oh, dude, for sure. That
the-
booth is so massive.
And the babes in the booth for sure.
But see, what I don't understand is the backstory from El Septimo Cigars was they were talking about the sheik that created these cigars and this cognac, and I was like, well, you know, I'm pretty sure that
I was more impressed with the cognac than I was
right.
the cigar.
I was not, but I'm pretty sure that I know the religious sects of most sheiks, and I don't think they drink or smoke. So I'm kind of
Not in public.
So I'm kind of curious
Fair
to wonder
enough. Yeah, fair.
how in the world they make this work. But apparently they had, from what I understand, they might correct us, but they had they brought a British guy in to do blending and rolling to find good blends for these people for these high dollar cigars they were going to sell.
I don't trust anyone that has beans for breakfast.
Right. For sure. Sure.
I'm sorry, but
You can't eat beans all day if you don't start at breakfast.
So what the girl was telling me, which the girl at the booth was their brand ambassador, and she was super nice. I can't remember her name. Saved my life because I met so many awesome people there. But she said that when the sheik passed away, the sheik basically left all of El Septimo, handed it to this British guy. And that now he is the one that's over, or his heir or lineage is over that now, and they're pushing more to get out. So it started as the Saudi Arabian prince, sheik, whatever, and then when he passed away, it was handed over. Like basically in his will, he's give them it all.
yeah.
And so like that's pretty cool. I think that's an awesome story if that's actually what happened.
Well, it's a continuity of my theme. I think I was very disappointed. My smokes rating for the Michelangelo is a 1.
Okay. So
Glorious now.
So next up is myself, folks. And boy, do I have a conversation for you.
Let's take a break here.
Yeah, well, we can take a break. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break. You can hear some of our great sponsors. We'll be right back with everything for Barger.
That's right.
It's not just the destination, but baby, the whole elation of riding down this lover's avenue. As slow as a willow blows, or as fast as the whirlwind grows, we glide beneath the stars in cobalt blue. Look to the left, to the right, keep your eyes on the road, my darling, wondering if we're only passing through. Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
All right, folks, so get ready for this because my cigars, I think I had the best 4 of the cigars.
Of course you do.
I'm just going to throw this out
you
there.
do.
You picked them out yourself,
So I did.
I think
did.
he smoked 20 and narrowed it down to 4 is what he did.
Man, I can't. I bet I smoked 8 cigars a day while we were there.
Yeah.
But
it took me a week to recover.
It's
know.
going to take me a week to recover from
It was my first Vegas trip. I lost weight. It was
right?
great.
I think I
cigar
found
diet.
it. I found it. It's funny.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
works.
we didn't leave it there. We brought it with us. It's cool. So one of the things, there's a couple things that I want to discuss right quick that aren't cigar related, but they are cigar related. So when you put your money into a slot machine, no, I'm just kidding.
You know, they don't take gold leaf at the cage.
Oh, that's a damn shame.
I know.
All right.
I just wanted one more spin.
I know it. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about is rabbit air filtration system that I got. So they actually reached out to me before the show and sent me a rabbit air, and I've been using it lately, and it's awesome.
Oh, that thing's magic.
That thing is absolutely magic. That unit that they sent me, awesome. Thank you guys for sending it to me, and I'll have a review for you guys at some point.
Huh.
But it's definitely helped my home because I smoke indoors, unlike most people. I smoke indoors, so it really helps. I can have 4 dudes in there and smoking and
married 34 years. I do not smoke indoors.
That's right. Mike doesn't do a lot of things. If you've met his wife, you'll realize why.
How many times have you had 4
she
dudes
is the
in there?
light of his life and is awesome, and I love her.
No rabbit air would repair that.
That's right. She would murder you.
Yeah.
Another thing is the humidors that we saw. There were so many different manufacturers of humidors there, and lighters and cutters and things like that. But
you're going to talk about the pegboard booth?
No, maybe.
Yeah.
The pegboard booth. Which one?
So there was they had this smoking room
that
you guys talked about. I didn't see it, but I enjoyed you guys talking about it. So it had I don't know, just it looked like a bunch of leftover construction elements. It was like, hey man, you got something that you're not using, and they decided to make a humidor room out of it.
So these guys, I'm just gonna I don't remember the name of the company, and I apologize, but these guys were awesome. They were really cool to talk to and really worked through what they were doing with me. But they basically will come to your home and build a smoking room in your home.
Oh, it's not pre-manufactured?
No.
They come and set
They come and set it up.
So you can get pegboard in multiple colors?
In multiple colors and locations. It's basically an updraft system that comes through your floor and goes up and out. There's a pegboard floor and a pegboard ceiling, and it vents everything so there's no smoke in there.
What kind of costs we talking about here?
See, I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it, but it was
about
$6,000
for the small one.
Wow.
So it was a cool concept, but I just don't know in practicality how many people will be able to put that in their homes.
I think you should try it, Michael.
I think I'm down. If they want to come put one in, I'll give them all the reviews they want. So, but as far as the humidors go, I think it's Alfadino. Is that the name of that brand? We met these couple of guys named Ike and Harry.
Oh,
that's exactly Ike and Harry.
Ike and Harry, and they were from China, and they build humidors.
Oh yeah,
they came to that wildfire event.
Dude, they came to the wildfire event that we went to. We watched Jeremy from Wildfire's band play. Awesome, had a great time at this dive bar.
The two guys from China went to a dive bar.
Yeah, it was awesome because they were completely out of place.
Is it a dive bar or a biker bar?
No, it was a dive bar.
It was like a half pizza joint, half dive bar.
Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, so they're humidors, and I think we're getting one, fingers crossed, but their humidors were beautiful.
Beautiful.
They had one that was leather wrapped. You could see the stitching.
They were gorgeous.
They are absolutely beautiful, and I'm hoping and fingers crossed, looking forward to working with them in the future. So, as far as those little accoutrements go, we're going to talk about my cigars now.
All right.
So, let's talk about the Germans.
Oh, I like the Germans very well.
Do you like schnitzel?
So Barger and I, he actually had visited with them earlier, and I came back to them almost, I think, on the third day, and Barger happened to be there at the same time. And what I found so funny was he had the exact same pitch.
Exact same. Word for word.
It was like he was on script.
Man, he rehearsed that in a
the
mirror.
The cigar is like the ring racetrack in Nuremberg.
Do you know? So we're not going to talk about the cigar. What we're going to talk about is German engineering.
Yes.
It's all about the aroma. And don't worry about the binder, filler, or wrapper. It's,
Absolutely. So I want to preface this conversation on these German cigars.
Do you know Formula One?
Yeah, I know
Formula One. You turn right, you turn left.
These couple of guys were awesome, and I really enjoyed my conversation with them.
It was entertaining.
But it was very entertaining because they didn't really talk about the build of their cigars. They talked about what their cigars felt like to smoke.
It was like you have to experience German culture.
Yeah, and he was like, "This cigar is like the Formula One racing. Do you know Formula One?" And I was like, "Yes, I know Formula One. I'm not a NASCAR fan, so it's cool. I'd rather watch Formula One than NASCAR. I get it."
Not according to that accent.
Yeah, I know, right? But he was like, "This is like the smell of the racetrack, going with the trees and all these things going through, and you smell all these different aromas." And you know, to be honest with you, they have a cigar that's a limited release, and it's called their number 1. And what they said was, we are going to be releasing cigars, and we're not going to disclose a single thing. We want you to focus on the experience of the cigar. I thought that was cool. I really enjoyed that.
We just panned El Septima for not doing that.
I know, but the way that the German guys approach it is
the fact you do it with a German accent.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool. Then is
so
that what you're saying?
the way that these German guys approach it is way cooler than the El Septimo booth, because their booth was like 8 foot by 8 foot, and it was just 2 dudes and a couple of glass shelves. Now they also had $1 million ashtrays. That were so they had their ashtrays were completely, I think, 3D metal printed, and so like the printer just layers these lines, and it was like intersecting lines and lines and lines and lines everywhere, and it was really cool. But I would never pay that much for an ashtray.
This is a complete waste of time.
Right, but their cigar,
$1 million.
Right, so the cigar that I smoked from them is called the number 1. And it's the very first release of their limited lines that's coming out once a year. Once they're gone, they're gone. I was lucky enough to be given one, and I smoked it, and you know, I didn't really love it. I gave it a smokes rating of a 2.
Yeah, I had this as well. And so I was just waiting for the whole time, you know, the German was in my head. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
On you're about halfway. What do you think of the cigar? You know, do you feel the aroma? Do you feel the swing of the Formula One?
Are you ready for a pit stop?
So, yeah. And I think that I had a similar, you know, reaction to it. Was just, it was very ho-humish. And I kept on waiting for this moment, you know, where the experience would outstrip the quality of the cigar, and none of that jumped up. I was just like, okay, you know, and you know, I kept on. I had the rest of the sticks in their product line, you know, with me, and I'm like, is there something else here that I should be trying?
I haven't smoked the Rachenweiner or whatever it's called, but so it looks good. It looks tasty. So I'm looking forward to smoking it.
I look forward to the experience.
I will say, and I don't know if you guys have any listeners in Germany, but Germany does have a big, massive boutique cigar market. They actually have Intertabac there, which is like PCA for Europe.
Sure.
But it is crazy how the German culture has actually really embraced cigars more than most other countries in Europe.
That's awesome.
And there's actually cigar shops there where you can't find any Cubans, and you'll just find Nicaraguans, or even, and a lot of companies actually even make German exclusives.
That's very contrary to the rest of the EU. Yeah.
So I actually
very vape and, you know, cigarette, you know, forward. Yeah.
So I actually put in my notes, I think that it's Dominican. I got when the very first light and the retro and the very first third was very much like newer Davidoff kind of Dominican style tobacco, and so I thought that was good. But man, at halfway through that cigar, it just turned burnt, and it would never, the flavor wouldn't change from that burnt just toast in your mouth, and it was just like, man, I really wanted this to be better. But I'm not opposed to giving it another try. But so far, a rating of a 2.
That was a 1 for me, man. That thing was very ho hum, right?
Yeah.
Like the light wasn't bad, but post light all the way through the end, I didn't get a lot out of it. I think definitely enough to possibly have another cigar, right? Because we've talked about that.
Right. We are girly, man, waiting for the aroma.
Yeah, right.
Was it like a crash in a Nuremberg?
No, I felt like I was, part of the pit crew waiting for the race to start.
So my next cigar on my list is going to be the Cavalier Tres de la. I'm going to butcher the crap out of this. Tres
Delinquents.
Delinquent. It's Spanish for delinquents, and I can't read it. So it's the Delinquents Maduro.
Yes. So 3 idiots.
So a lot of their branding in that cigar was actually like the box comes in a box of 50, and it's all like graffiti art.
So it comes in a box of 20.
Oh, well, the big box I saw there had 50.
Okay. So it comes in, but it has graffiti art, and the cool part about it is there's 3 different blends, and each box has actually an image of one of the owners on it, and so, but it's really cool. And I don't know if do you know the price point on this?
So they're about $7 to $8 a stick, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So it's very approachable for newbies or anyone coming into a humidor, and you see that art kind of flashy graffiti art. Grab you one of those, man. The Habano and a Maduro, right?
Habano, Maduro, and Connecticut.
So Habano, Maduro, Connecticut, and I smoked the Maduro, and the Toro size is what I smoked. I really, really, really liked that cigar. Like, I will be buying a box of these cigars. It was that good. It tasted like...
Wasn't it influenced by Cypress Hill?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah.
And the backstory behind the graffiti, it's got this like cool kind of 90s hip hop vibe to it as well.
He said he was driving down the road with his buddy, and the song came on the radio, and he was like, there it is. There's a cigar right there. Which is an awesome story, too, because who doesn't love old school Cypress Hill?
Insane. And saw him at Red Rocks.
Ooh, I bet that was awesome.
Incredible.
Oh, wow. I wish I'd have been there, fly on the wall for that one. So I gave that a SIPS rating of 3. Hopefully, we're going to do a Cavalier Takeover episode and maybe have him on one of our chats episodes, which be on the lookout for chats episodes, because those are coming in the future, folks, and we will be going in depth and finding out what makes cigar manufacturers tick. So that's exciting for me. Now, my next cigar is going to be the... Guess? Anyone guess?
It's the timeout.
Nope. That's my last one. So my next one is going to be the Tatuaje Tuxtla 10th anniversary.
Oh, well.
Now that cigar...
It's going to be a pain in the butt to find.
Oh,
it will be. Yep.
But I'm going to tell you, if you can find one, buy every one of them you can find. Because it is fan-freaking-tastic. I gave it a SIPS rating of a 3. Smokes rating.
I'll give it that. I smoked it as well. So, and for those of you who don't know, with Tatuaje, and for the last couple of years, he's started coming out with the Tuxtla series, which is essentially taking cigars that he's made in the past and essentially slapping a San Andreas wrapper on it.
Yep.
So every time you see one, it's going to have a San Andreas wrapper.
Yep.
But like last year, they came out with, I think it was the pork tenderloin. And we've had the Fasto. Or not Fasto. We've had the Avion. There's a bunch of different
Avion's
Tuxtlas.
fantastic.
So every year there's like one Tuxtla, and most shops get a handful of them, and so get them while they're there.
If you're a Saints and Sinners member, you can get them early.
There you go.
So that's a good thing as well. Ben, did you smoke that cigar as well? Did you smoke it, Justin?
I did not.
I have not smoked it. This Tatuaje is also one of my fanboy brands.
Oh yeah.
I smoke everything that they come out with, and so this is one that I'm actually smoking cigars for me started as a pastime with my dad, and that's how we kind of bond and try to solve the riddles of the world is on the back porch with a smoke. So I'm actually waiting for this to come out so I can purchase another one, hopefully before my dad gets his hands on it.
Right.
And show up and spend some time with the old man in this smoke.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to say, so the one that we smoked, I got a Perfecto from him, and it was 5 by 5 3/4 inches long by 48, which is a great ring gauge for me because that's right in my wheelhouse. But that Mexican San Andreas wrapper really just punches through, and he's got Nicaraguan binder and filler in that cigar, and it is just, like I'm saying, if you can find it, get it, folks.
I did not get one.
That's okay. We had a good conversation with Pete, though, while we were there.
I did.
And Pete was a great guy, and I'm going to try to get him. I've talked to him about getting on our chats episodes as well. So we're going to hopefully get on that chats episode and have a good time with him as well.
He winked at me while I was there, so that gave me the warm and fuzzies.
There you go. There you go. He's such a nice guy. He reminds me of Seth Rogen.
Nice.
Like he looks and sounds exactly like Seth Rogen, and I'm just like, I just want to hang out with you in a
I
room.
bet he loves that too.
No, I hope he does. I hope he doesn't take offense to that. Sorry, Pete, if you do. But I think he's just a great person to just hang out and have a conversation with.
It was.
Because he's so knowledgeable about cigars and about his passions. So that leaves me with my last cigar. So should we take a timeout?
No
timeouts today. So Timeout is a brand I want to just spotlight for me because it was awesome. Not just because of the cigar itself, but because of Neil.
Yeah, it was really interesting how watching, all this play out for both Barger and I over the last month. So Neil happened to come by a whiskey social club that we were both a part of. Mm-hmm. And Neil happened to come and he was, he had just put together these cigars. I mean, even the bands he had were like, the glue was still on them, And so it was just very interesting, him, sitting down and introducing these cigars to us. And we were already smoking, a bunch of other things, at the time. And actually he handed us, both, sticks from the entire product line. And I just threw them in a bag and I didn't get around to them until after the PCA show. And since we were going to talk about this, I actually got to smoke the Habano.
Yeah, that's what I had. And that's what I'm going to go over. But it was Timeout was founded by Neil, and I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm going to butcher your last name.
I would.
Yalan, I believe. And he had a chance meeting with Ryan Rodriguez of Ohana Nui, which is your left-hander that you smoked.
Yeah, they shared a booth together.
And they shared a booth together at PCA. And man, Ryan was really awesome to talk to, and so was Neil. They just had good energy. And there was a really small booth, and so this was his first time at PCA, but their relationship led to the development of the Timeout cigars, which Ryan and Neil both helped on the blending process with that. So he's got two lines right now, two facings, and one is a Maduro and one is a Habano, and he calls the Habano his Great White Shark. And so we've been talking this week. He's like, it's Shark Week, bro.
Yeah.
So I was that Shark Week cigar stand is pretty sweet.
It is, because he's got a cool little 3D printed shark head that glows in the dark, and you put your cigar in it, and it's pretty cool. Hopefully he'll send me one. But anyway,
or two.
Or two.
5.
So what I smoked was the Toro version of this, which was a 6.5 by 50 soft box press. Mm-hmm. He has 3 different sizes of these cigars, of his Maduro and his Habano. So he's got a Robusto, a Toro, and a
it's like a Robusto. It's a smaller one.
Yeah. I can't remember. Sorry, Neil. But so his wrapper is an Ecuadorian Habano, which, man, that's kind of my wheelhouse. I love that flavor.
Yeah,
I love that flavor of cigar. Did you get to smoke some, Justin?
Yes.
So what were your thoughts?
Stick I had at the event, I got to smoke it with Neil. It was well done.
Yeah.
Good burn, good flavor.
Yeah.
I think he's a cigar lover who decided, okay, I'm going to make some of these. And it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I really hope to see good things in the future from him. Did any of you other guys smoke it?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, really awesome cigar. This was one of the few sticks we had in our lineup from today. It was just very interesting with the side-by-side comparison of other brands that were, especially in that boutique, Cigar Association area, and that were in some similar, evolution of introducing their brands, to the market. And just, watching Neil go through this and actually hearing a lot of the challenges that he was facing, both through brand development as well as, construction of the cigars themselves, as well as just, moving from an idea into reality, at the PCA show. That was just really, seeing that up close and in person, that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed watching the entrepreneurship, pan out, right there in front of us, because the cigar was fantastic. I loved the entire stick itself, and I it was one of those few moments that I was ready to stand up and applaud, because so many other brands that even have been around for 5+ years, even those sticks are not as good as this stick that Neil has put out. So kudos for putting a really great, product on the market. I really hope he doesn't get crushed, by the marketing engine of so many other players, in the market, because this is definitely a cigar that you're going to have to hunt for it, a little bit. It's not going to be available in a lot of mail order retailers. It's going to be, in a lot of retail shops. Well worth the hunt. Very affordable, bang for buck, right off the hook, for sure.
No, I think it's good, and it falls in that $12-13 price point as well.
Yeah,
which is like, as we know, it's my wheelhouse.
Maybe if they put a Freud sticker on it, it would be worth it.
Or else it's
$42.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe if it knows a Formula One, it would be very good.
I know we're not supposed to pimp out brands, but cannot echo enough about Neil. And his wife was there. They were the two running their booth.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right there with Ryan Rodriguez, right in Ohana Nui. That time out smoke. I mean, incredible, man. Like you said, the Robusto, the Toro, and then the soft box press as well. Those are the 3 sizes.
Yeah, his 3-pack, you can get his 3-pack with all his lines, and it's really good.
If you're into hunting for anything luxury, right, whether it be whiskeys or wines or cigars, this is definitely one to put on your radar.
I think he's only going to be in about 20 stores across the U.S., so
but
you can get them online, but they're going to be limited, so if there's one of these cigars you're going to get from tonight, I would check that cigar out for sure.
Yeah.
So it's come to my attention that I put the wrong blend out. Before I get into the blend, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give my rating for the timeout, and which we're going to give it a smokes rating of a 3 across the board.
Yes.
Nate, what were you telling me? Oh, okay. Well, it's not relevant. Apparently I messed something up, but we'll figure it out.
You think you're going to pick that stick up in the store?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we actually went by and talked to them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Didn't
good,
mean to put you on the spot.
You're going to get that Shark Week cigar
for sure.
holder or what?
I don't know. I'd love to.
Yeah. So, just like everything in life is is good, actually, is worth discussing. Does anybody have some final thoughts on the PCA? Things that could go better, things that could go worse, things that, how did we fare overall with our experience in the PCA?
Best cigar show I've ever been to.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So this was a show that I went to many, many years ago. I want to say probably 9 years ago was the last time I went to the show. So they had 2 shows that were in Nashville, and I went to both of those. And, it's definitely changed, over time. They definitely, comparing, what it was and what it is now. There were definitely not as many manufacturers at the PCA show, but they also changed, it used to be combined for everything with, ICPD, or I forgot the Retail Tobacco Dealers Association, so it used to have, a lot of pipes and, other things. And they had a lot of that, at the PCA show itself, but it was very cigar forward. And I thought that worked well for us. I mean, I know many of us are pipe smokers as well.
Yeah.
But,
we're going to do a pipes episode soon.
Overall, I thought it was really awesome. I'd like to see some more concentration on welcoming the media, to be at the event. So I thought there were a lot of missed opportunities, that a lot of the brands had, with us. I think that was my only beef, at all with the PCA.
Where's the beef?
I thought it was very well organized. I thought getting through everything in 3 days, I definitely, got around to the entire show. There were a lot of surprises at the show. And I enjoyed a lot of the things that I did not know about. I loved a lot of the new products that they introduced. I thought that was a great venue for that. I think definitely if there's a retailer that decided not to go to the show, I think you missed out.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Yeah, I would encourage you to take a look, at least sending, one member of your staff out to the show. I think you would end up putting at least 5 to 10 products, in your shop that I think would make a big difference and put some more bank, some good revenue that maybe I think you're just denying yourself by not going to the show itself.
Well, and the benefit of the show through retail too is, if you don't go, your consumers are going to be the one who come to you asking you about this cigar, that cigar, this cigar. And, it's like, it's so awesome to be able to show people the new things versus them coming to you begging for you to get this thing that you have no clue about. And so really to stay informed in the industry on what's new from every brand, you really need to go.
Yeah, I would encourage any retail shop or media personnel or someone that's really on the cusp of what's up and coming with cigars to just get your butt off your couch and go.
When I think, me coming from the more like consumer enjoyable standpoint of just like checking out the local shop, seeing what's new, really trying to grow the breadth of knowledge that I have with cigars. Going to this show was really, really cool from the perspective of you get to see all, a lot of the big brand names that and, the kind of top tier as far as presentation goes, but then getting down into the smaller producers, right? Some of those more boutique opportunities, some of those, startup companies, like, Time Out, like we really got to see him go through the full spectrum of emotion and see it come to life right before his eyes.
And
that was something that was super endearing to me. And dare I say inspirational, to see, honestly a dream come to life right there, butted up next to, these big legacy brands.
Sure.
I made a similar comment, many times that I thought that was really great, for literally that you could see, folks like, Neil, with Time Out, literally just 60 feet away from Fuente,
Yeah.
And, the retailers had equal access, to all of those brands. So I thought that was definitely, it created a level playing field, at least from at the show itself. Now, maybe, when it came down to actually buying the brands, I mean, you're going to buy a lot of popular brands that align, with your consumers, in that particular shop. But I still think, you have a great opportunity to take a look at some things that are, you don't have a rep that's going to walk in and pimp, on it for, every other week. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I Justin, what are your thoughts?
I saw the past, present, and future cigars in one place. And it was pretty cool. Like I've said earlier in the show, it's so cool to see the cigar business work from the perspective of just a mere cigar enthusiast like myself.
Sure. Well, I think all in all, we all had a really good experience at PCA this year, and I'm pretty happy with how it all went down. They did move up the timetable for next year's, which is going to be in March instead of July. So we will be attending in the March. So I look forward to seeing what's going to be dropping there, because a lot of the manufacturers were even talking about, hey, we're getting our cigar ready for the next one. So I'm pretty excited to see what's happening then. Just, like I say all the time, is just stay informed about what you like about cigars, and just keep in mind that this is ever growing. It's not shrinking. We're growing. We're getting more brands. We're getting more people. We're getting more faces. So if you are one of those smokers that just knows what you want in a humidor and just grabs it every time and doesn't go out of
you're denying yourself
out of your box. Yeah, man. Yeah. Get out of your box. Shove your opinions in a sack for a second and pick some brands that you don't usually smoke and figure it out, because there's a lot of quality cigars that are lower, that people put in lower tiers because they don't know the brands. And I really think that you're doing a disservice to yourself by not experiencing those cigars and those other manufacturers. So I think, like I continue to tell people, educate yourself, learn what you like and don't like, and keep on smoking for sure. So with that, we're going to wrap up this PCA episode. I would like to thank our host, good old boy Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Good old boy Benjamin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Good old boy Nate, thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good old boy Mike, thanks for helping me with this and being here.
Yeah, thanks. And hope you'll check out another exciting episode of Sip, Suds, and Smokes. I will ask you to keep on sipping.
Right?
Keep on smoking.
I just got a question. Am I going to be able to smoke now without somebody taking a picture of me?
Maybe not.
We'll see.
What a great show. PCA was a great event. We're lucky.
Awesome, man. Well, keep on smoking, folks, and thanks for joining us. And check out our other episodes. We do multiple things from alcohol, tobacco, and coffee, and we just have a good time doing it.
Bye, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're listening to us online, do yourself a favor and tap the subscribe button.
Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
The easiest way to listen to our show is to ask Siri, Alexa, Google, Uncle Larry, or whoever it is that talks to you on your phone. Play podcast Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback, and you can reach us at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram with our handle @SipSudsAndSmokes, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. You'll also be able to interact with the thousands,
Millions
of other fans on those social media platforms. Do us a favor. Take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well. Come back, join us for another episode, and keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sip, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.